You're listening to the Exploring Fitness Podcast, episode 17. In this episode, we sit down with a doctor of chiropractic with an extensive CrossFit background to discover how his experience coaching and competing has shaped his approach to healthcare. In 3, 2, 1, go. I'm Dan Dalator. In over 10 years of experience as a clinician and a coach, I've worked with hundreds of athletes to help them improve their health, wellness, and fitness, but still feel that there is so much more for all of us to learn. This is a podcast dedicated to furthering our understanding of health, wellness, fitness, and how to apply these concepts into our daily lives to create true and lasting changes in your fitness and health. This is the Exploring Fitness Podcast. It's not often that you have the opportunity to meet someone who has coached and competed for one of the most well-known CrossFit gyms in the world. And even more rare for one of those individuals to relocate over 1,100 miles to become a local healthcare provider in the Portland, Maine area. But that's exactly the journey our next guest took. From CrossFit coach and competitive athlete for one of the most competitive gyms in the world, to a doctor of chiropractic who recently owned his own solo practice, this guy puts the same passion and hard work into everything, exemplifying the idea that the way you do anything is the way you do everything. For him, that has meant accepting the challenges placed in front of him, putting in the hard work, and connecting with people along the way. All right, welcome everybody to another episode. My guest today is a doctor of chiropractic who most recently opened his own office, Rogers Health and Performance, in Westbrook, Maine. He has been licensed since 2020, graduating from Parker University in Dallas, Texas. Prior to chiropractic school, he was a coach at CrossFit Mayhem in Cookeville, Tennessee, owned by the one and only Rich Froning. During his time there, he was part of the Mayhem competition team. Ben Rogers, welcome to the Exploring Fitness Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
This is a first for me too.
Oh, there you go.
First podcast, but I think
Perfect.
that of all podcasts, an Exploring Fitness podcast is probably the most appropriate
Perfect.
introduction.
We're happy to have you on.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Okay. Did I miss anything in the intro?
I mean, I don't, perhaps not pertinent to Exploring Fitness, but
Yeah.
I mean, I have 5 kids.
Yeah, I did not mention that.
Yeah, five kids. While I was at Parker, I got my master's in neuroscience as well. All the coaching background you hit.
Cool.
That really lends itself well to what I do now.
Yeah, perfect.
Absolutely.
So first question I ask all of my guests. You've listened to one of my episodes, so I think you know what it is. What is fitness to you?
What is fitness to me? So you can answer it, like the true CrossFitter that I am. Increased work capacity across broad time and modal domains.
Let's go against the CrossFit definition. How about the Ben Rogers definition?
But the interestingly enough, the Ben Rogers definition is the same except expanded to life. So, your goal as a human should be to increase your ability to handle stress, whatever stress that is, whatever environment that's in, whether that's family, work, physical stress, lifting weights, if you're a cardio guy, whatever, is to be able to handle that stress and use it as a stress so that your body adapts to it and you get stronger. That's fitness in a nutshell is increased work capacity across broad time and modal domains, but it extends far beyond the walls of the gym.
Yeah, increasing your resilience.
Absolutely.
More than just physically, but on the mental side as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. See, the fitness definition is pretty good. It's just needs to be expanded a little bit further than just deadlifts and thrusters.
Yeah.
It can be expanded a lot. And that's, I think, the definition of fitness for me, because I'm kind of a glutton for punishment, which unfortunately extends far beyond the walls of the gym.
Yeah.
But
I think doing some of those hard things alongside other people kind of like promotes that, at least like the mental resilience side.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I mean, going through school, I was kind of a glutton for punishment. Everybody said neuro is going to be the hardest class, and so I took that as a challenge.
Bring it.
Yeah. Let's hit it hard. Let's, ace every test. And then, you know what? Let's get a master's in neuroscience on top of it.
Sweet.
While I'm getting my doctorate. So
why not?
Just because that's how my brain works, unfortunately. Yeah.
So let's talk about your journey a little bit. So in like all my digging online, all I could find was stuff from like Cookeville forward. Where were you before that? Like, where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in Pleasant View, Tennessee. So it's just north of Nashville, Tennessee. I went to high school, Sycamore High School there. I mean, my parents were amazing. Just the more I get out into the world, the more I see how amazing they were, even at the time. Love my parents. I never feel like I wasn't that rebellious teenager like you get a lot of times. But I just didn't appreciate it at the time. Now I have a much greater respect and understanding for the things that they did. So anyway,
especially as you become a parent.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. Oh my gosh!
Without
me, shove this chair around here. I played three or four sports growing up. It just depends on the season. Game ran me to every practice, every game. And then looking back, I called my dad, and once my kids started getting into sports, I said, "How did you do it?" Right? Because I was thankful my sisters didn't really do sports. So my dad said, "We'd have probably made you choose if they did sports, honestly, because it was just running them ragged, running me, just running everybody around." But they were the most supportive parents you could possibly ask for.
Awesome.
And I think that's helped me become the person I am.
Good. What sports?
Oh my gosh, I played basketball mostly. That was kindergarten all the way through. Baseball, ran track. There was a year of football in there, but that was 8th grade. Going into high school, I weighed 95 pounds. I couldn't be much shorter than I am now, but I weighed 95 pounds. And I decided that if one of those big guys hit me, I was going to die. So, which is kind of fair, at that weight. So I stopped playing football then and focused mostly basketball, baseball, and track.
Okay.
But track kind of ended up being my specialty, which, believe it or not, looking at me, I was a high jumper.
All right.
I know I'm not necessarily
basketball, high jump.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Nice.
And that was the high school experience. And I got into CrossFit from my sophomore into my junior year. I think it was. Okay. I had just started working at an asphalt sealing plant in Nashville. So I would drive to Nashville on the weekends, and then during the summer I was there, pretty much all week, selling asphalt sealing. And my boss at the time, Jerry McCool, he had been in his 60s at the time, but he pulled his computer over. He's like, "Have you seen this crazy stuff people are doing online? Like, they just go as hard as they can." And and he's like, "Yeah, it's called CrossFit."
Or was it a video rich?
No, at the time, I mean, that was even before the games in 2010. And so all we had at the time was .com workouts. That you couldn't find programming online at that point. At least not that I could. And so all I did was .com workouts. And my first workout was Fran. I didn't do kipping pull-ups because kipping was for sissies. That's what everybody said.
Strict Fran.
Exactly. Strict Fran, where I couldn't squat below parallel even.
Right.
And I think it probably took me 9.5, almost 10 minutes.
Hit
And
the
then-
stimulus.
Oh yeah, it kind of goes. Now it's a completely different stimulus than it would be now for sure. But I said, this is stupid. I'm not doing this. And then a couple months later, one of my friends convinced me to try again. And then I just never stopped.
Cool.
So I started looking into strength conditioning stuff when I was, again, sophomore going into my junior year. And taught myself all the movements best I could. Finally started being able to squat below parallel. You kind of thought that as a jumper that would be helpful. Turns out, I mean, for my junior year, I added almost a foot onto my high jump. So it's helpful.
Functional crossover.
Yeah, it's helpful.
Yeah. Cool.
Believe it or not.
When did you start at Mayhem?
Started at Mayhem in 2012.
Okay.
So I graduated high school in 2012, and then worked all that summer. Just I would carry all my equipment from my room upstairs. I'd carry it downstairs and outside every day because my mom didn't want me lifting on the second floor. It makes sense. It makes sense. So I carry it downstairs, lift in my front yard. But I started at Mayhem that fall. I actually just showed up. I had two friends that were already working out there, and they said, we're actually moving gyms. They were opening up Mayhem 2.0 at the time. That was over by Ralph's, and I just showed up to help them move, and kind of became part of the group there. And then I started coaching towards the end of that year.
Awesome. You were there through
2017. So I coached for just a shade over 4 years. I got my L1 January 2013. Then we did. I was in charge of our kids program for a couple years.
Awesome.
We did the L2 2014, something like that. But yeah, I was there for just over 4 years.
Cool. What years were you on the Mayhem team competitively?
2013, 2014.
So pretty quick into your CrossFit
absolutely
career.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I still kind of don't even understand how or why that happened. I was not near as strong then as I am now, but in my first year in college, I put on the freshman 30.
Okay.
I
All muscle, right?
let's call it a late bloomer situation. I really wish it would have happened a year earlier. I went from graduating high school at 155 to the games the next year when we went, I was 185, and just eating like crazy, working out like crazy, and it's amazing what'll happen when you have this totally free hormones that development gives you.
Awesome. So competing at the games is quite an accomplishment. Like, what was that experience like, and how did it kind of shape your perspective on fitness and performance?
Oh man. Well, one, the experience was really incredible. It was when it was still in California. There was still 6 people that year too. I think the next year, 2014, was the last year of 6, if I remember right. But that was, you were surrounded by people, whether they were athletes or in the stands, that just loved fitness. You really will never get that many fit people together, I feel like. So the competition aside, competition was so fun and frustrating, but
Frustratingly fun.
yes, because that was the first year that they had the worm. That was the telephone pole that was cut up and connected by ropes.
Nice.
And we were 6 good athletes. I think that the rest of our team would agree we were not 6 good teammates. And so communication just jumped to the top of the list when you throw that worm in there, and things degraded pretty quickly. Still had a good time.
Awesome.
But you get to see how fitness does bring people together there. And I think that that's a beautiful thing about the games, and then regionals when they were a thing, that it really brings people together, and That's what I like about it now the most, I
Awesome. What inspired you to pursue chiropractic care,
think.
like after competing at that elite level?
Yeah. So my undergrad at Tennessee Tech was for physical education. It was teach K through 12 PE. I was almost done. I was in my residency when my one of my friends that coached with us, Todd Strong, uh, he went to Life in Georgia, uh, Life it's a chiropractic school in Georgia, and he came back just for a visit, and he was just started raving about it. And I'm like, that's cool, and so I just kind of went on the back burner. But I was like, I want to teach PE. Well, I wanted to teach elementary or high school PE. The only open job was middle school, and God bless all the middle school teachers because you have to be a very special person.
That's a tough age period. Yeah.
I love my middle schooler. He's in 7th grade. He's amazing. He's the exception, not the rule. And and so you got to be a special person. So as soon as I started that job, I was like, you know what? Let's do something else. And then in my head, can't really coach CrossFit forever, uh, but I think I'm wrong about that now. But
Yeah, there are professional coaches.
I know, right? I mean, I love what I did, but I decided to go to chiropractic school. Buddy, I feel like I had such a good knowledge and understanding of the body at the time that was more or less squandered teaching PE. Teaching PE when you're not really valued as a PE teacher. Not really valued by the students, not really valued by the administration or the parents. So I just kind of felt like that was squandered. So I thought that chiropractic school would be a good use of it. And so I took, while I was still teaching PE, I took the organic chemistry prereq that I needed. I took that prereq and then straight to chiropractic school as soon as that school year was over.
Cool. What was that transition like, going from coaching to being back in school again?
You know, but I coached CrossFit while I was doing my undergrad. I feel like it was rather seamless because a lot of the knowledge transfers over when you start taking biomechanics courses and talking anatomy. Um,
Physics.
oh my god,
Yeah.
it just makes so much sense. Like you may be able to put more specific terminology, doctory terms on top of it, but it all should make sense if I've done the application thereof for the past 4 or 5 years of my life. Um, and so the transition was quite smooth. Um, moving from Tennessee to Texas was tough, I would say, but we made it work.
Yeah. And then why from Texas to Maine?
So simply put, I was a new grad with a wife and 4 kids, and I needed a job. And the job that I did come up here for was posted in a Facebook group that me and one of the other associates were part of. Seemed like a good opportunity at the time, and I think it's paid off. I mean, I learned so much at the previous practice I was at. Coming out as a brand new grad, when stuff walks through the door, you it can really put you on your heels if you don't know what to expect. What is normal? How many textbook presentations have you had come through? Never.
Everyone's a little different.
Yeah, the body doesn't read the textbook. They don't know how they're supposed to present. So some stuff can put you on your heels if you're not ready for it. So that previous practice was really helpful. And
Yeah, always good to have a mentor come out.
So nice.
Yeah.
And I was also over the heat of Texas too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was so hot.
I'm guessing that even though you had those mentors, like, you still kind of put your own spin on things based on your fitness background. Like,
Absolutely.
how has, like, being involved in CrossFit for so long prior to getting licensed kind of like helped shape the way that you practice?
So if you've ever coached CrossFit before, or really, I mean, personal trainer of any sort, you know that you end up doing a lot more of PT, put that in quotes because you technically can't, but you end up doing a lot more corrective exercise than you envisioned that you would when you started. So you get to, I mean, coaching CrossFit, you get a lot of these, quick fix type things. K-Stars, a really good example of how to perform basic maintenance on yourself, and you can begin to communicate that to your clients. And patient communication wise, it was so helpful to have worked with teenagers, have worked with middle-aged desk workers, have worked with masters 55 plus caliber games athletes. Like you kind of get the whole gambit as a CrossFit coach. And
Right.
so
You were used to communicating with all forms of people based
absolutely,
on your coaching, and that
absolutely,
kind of carried over.
and
Yeah.
and then whatever cues that you needed for uh, to get your point across when you're teaching movement, it's the exact same thing when you're doing chiropractic or any sort of physical work like we do.
Yeah, that's great. So roughly like 4 years with that first practice?
Yes.
Three and a
I
half,
mean, just
3.5,
a
4 years?
just a shade over 4 years.
Shade over
Mhm,
4 years.
mhm,
Yeah. So what ultimately led you to the
mhm,
decision of, I think I'm going to go out and do this thing on my own?
mhm. So when I was coming up on graduation in Cairo school anyway, I had kind of all but a solid location to work out of. I wanted to start my own thing, and then as we got closer, the desire for consistency with soon to be 4 kids at the time. Uh, my fourth was born less than a month after I graduated. So so with soon to be 4 kids, consistency just very quickly jumped to the top of the list. And at the practice that brought me up here, it offered consistency, especially for the first year. I mean, you new grads don't really get a chance uh, to sit down and take a breath, especially if you start your own practice. This practice allowed me to do that for just a little bit, and I'm so thankful for that. But after 4 years, I was in a office setting. I had access to our PT space that had barbells, kettlebells, a little rig to hang from and stuff, but I had to walk the patient through the hallway, I mean, through these normal, it looks like a medical office, but through this hallway and across the PT space, and maybe get in the way, maybe not over there. Um, and so it just seemed like I wasn't able to truly treat how I wanted to. And so and then it hit me as like, yeah, it's about time to move on. And so that's when I opened up my own practice, essentially the start of this year.
Yeah. So you're like 2 months in.
Yes. 2.5 months.
2.5 months.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Good. It's been, and again, I feel like you can relate to this. As soon as you start your own practice, I should have done this years ago.
Yeah.
Why didn't I do this sooner? And again, I'm so thankful for the learning experience that the other practice has given me. I quite honestly wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah,
but
sure.
like, man, maybe I should have done it like a year sooner, because all the people that I've treated have just been have you're able to find a little more your niche person, your the patient population that you want to treat. You're able to find them, search for them, and even if you're not, sometimes they're just attracted to you because of you're more genuinely who you are and how you want to treat.
Yeah.
It's been absolutely fantastic thus far.
Awesome. So I'm guessing that you, similar to me, your specific niche is like CrossFit, functional fitness, active adults, those kinds of things.
Absolutely.
What have you found to be some of like the most common injuries, problems, movement dysfunctions, however you would classify those kinds of things that you see?
Are you talking in CrossFit specifically, or just in like your active populations?
Either, both. Yeah.
So, uh, let's take CrossFit specifically first. CrossFit does an excellent job of loading the sagittal plane. Much outside of that, if you actually look at the say 100 words of fitness, it describes things outside of the sagittal plane, but implementation thereof is quite hard.
For our listeners, the sagittal plane is basically forwards, backwards movement.
Yes. Forward, backwards,
or
up and down.
Up, down. Yeah. Forwards, backwards, up, down. Not much side to side or not much rotational.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so it doesn't do an excellent job loading those other planes. So I find that a lot of movement dysfunctions, let's say with a squat, can be remedied with frontal plane activation. Get somebody doing a lateral wall sit or low oblique sit or something like that, and you know what, my hip and my low back feel a heck of a lot better. So, and it's not just CrossFit, powerlifting, Olympic lifting, really anything where you are lifting weights is it's easiest to load the sagittal plane, forward and back, up and down. It's safest. The gaps come when we start moving the frontal plane side to side, transverse plane, rotating. Those are the biggest gaps, and the movement dysfunctions kind of correlate with that.
Cool. How about the other, like everyday athlete, non-CrossFit?
Everyday athlete, talking like runners.
Maybe.
Yes.
Another sagittal plane activity.
Exactly. Unless you're playing tennis or something like that, your weekend warrior is going to be more of a runner, maybe obstacle course type stuff. But yeah, it's a lot of the same. And then you start looking at those endurance athletes, more runners, and be really helpful if you lifted a weight. I almost don't even care what it looks like at first. Just get a weight in your hands. Work with somebody who knows what they're doing and that can help you make
any kind of resistance training.
Just put some resistance on. Load is good. It's okay. I suppose that doesn't movement dysfunctions, but you need load.
Yeah, I gotcha. So, like you've already kind of touched on this a little bit, but I think sometimes chiropractic care kind of gets lumped into like, I just go and get my back cracked or my neck cracked, and then I'm out the door. Like chiropractic can involve so much more. You just like kind of talk about some of those other, like you said that you do some of like the corrective exercise type things, but like what other kind of stuff?
Absolutely. So, I mean, the chiropractic adjustment or manipulation, it can help a lot of people, but sometimes it's not so much of a WD-40 situation. We don't need something to move. Sometimes we need it to be stable. It's more of a duct tape situation. And so if you just adjust or manipulate, you run out of tools to help people. So I am really big on offering, what do you need? That's why I do a really thorough assessment. So, okay, this is a mobility issue. The adjustment can be helpful, but then I can give you some different mobility techniques, whatever that looks like for you and your body, that can be helpful, so that you can take care of this yourself. And I don't need to see you near as often. I do some soft tissue work because there are sometimes, hypertonic muscles that do need to calm down. Plus, it does provide relief in an acute situation. I do a lot of corrective exercise because we often load joints unequally. I really like using, let's say, a lateral epicondylitis as an example.
Tennis elbow.
Yeah. I hate calling it tennis elbow because I've treated people that play tennis that get pain on the inside.
I've seen more CrossFitters with tennis elbow than I've seen tennis players.
Absolutely. But so pain is on the outside, but we load the inside so much. And yes, it hurts to load the outside, but we have to figure out a situation that we can load it because healthy tendons are under load. And so we just need to figure out a palliative way to load them so that they can heal how they're supposed to. And again, your typical chiropractor and chiropractic adjustment isn't going to be just terribly helpful for that, unless have lack of elbow extension and we need to restore that. But still, the issue would be a loading issue in the elbow.
Right. It might help calm the symptoms down so that they can tolerate that load that's going to make that change.
Yes. And
but it might not necessarily fix the problem.
Absolutely.
Love it.
My progression through, let's say, a normal treatment is adjustment in soft tissue, just to, again, allow your body, perhaps a little bit of relief, maybe a little more range of motion, so that it can tolerate these positions and loading strategies that we're going to put it in.
Beautiful. I work on the same principles.
I mean, chiropractors, a lot of different practitioners, no matter who they are, get pigeonholed into, PTs. Well,
exercise.
No, Dr. Dan, you do exercise. I, manipulate joints.
Right.
But if you look at scope of practice, it's pretty much the same.
We just have different titles.
Actually, absolutely.
Love it. If you had to give CrossFit athletes like 3 key mobility exercises or drills to focus on, what would those 3 be?
I feel like I'm looking unprepared, because I read that question even, a week ago when you sent it to me, and I was still like, what do I do? So if we're talking mobility, like
Mobility.
stretching, joint mobilization, thoracic rotation, we're going to get a little more external rotation in the hips. I like a posterior hip capsule stretch, in quadruped position myself.
Okay.
Outside of that, hip extension.
Okay.
Whether that's a little more passively with a couch stretch or actively with the lumbar locked hip extension. Those are ones that I would say would and should be go-tos. Because I'm sure you've come across people in the squat. It's like, oh, you just need a little more external rotation capacity, and your low back's going to feel a lot better.
Love it. Yeah. I didn't even think about what I would have answered to the question before I just read it. And I just quickly, in my mind, before you even started answering, mine were thoracic mobility. I would have said hip internal rotation and ankle dorsal flexion.
Yeah. I mean, it's
very close.
I read it. I hate 3 exercises. You got to pick 3
exercises.
That's a hard question. Because I give hundreds a week, and I swear they all look different, but then they all look the same too. Yeah, well, you're just loading your T-spine differently for everyone, but T-spine mobility is just abysmal in CrossFit, I think.
No doubt.
Unless you're talking extension in someone who has chronic reduction in shoulder flexion.
Overcompensation.
That's me right there.
So you work with a lot of active individuals. How do you help people shift their mindset to only seeking care whenever they're in pain to the more proactive, prevention side of things?
I feel like I've improved at that a lot over the past couple of years. Because initially, going to see a PT, going to see a chiro, thinking, oh, well, I'm in a lot of pain. I need to get out of this pain. And then I'm, all right, see you never again. Sweet. Which I'm all about getting you better and making sure that I don't have to see you again. But I think communicating with them when I am working on somebody, whether that's one-on-one setting or when I'm posting social media stuff or whatever, of you can actually optimize your movement. You can make your workouts better. You can get stronger by focusing on let's say frontal plane movements, because your hips are going to end up taking a lot more of the load, and your low back won't take as much. You're going to feel a little safer. We're going to be a little more stable, and the body's going to let you lift heavier. But it's all about communication in that situation. That one's a really hard one to answer. Because I have to have somebody one-on-one almost.
Nice. And every situation is going to be different, obviously.
So different.
But yeah, shifting that mindset from, oh, I have to see you
Mm-hmm.
to get me out of pain,
Mm-hmm.
to like oh, now we get to work together
Right.
on a semi-regular basis
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
keep me feeling this way,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe
Mm-hmm.
potentially address other things that
Mm-hmm.
pop up here and there
Right.
before they get back to that point.
Mm-hmm. So I was uh, glad you phrased it that way, because it reminded me. I was talking to the owner of Iron Legion, the gym that I work out of, primarily in Westbrook, um, Scott. I was talking to him about personal training, not me specifically, but just personal
In
training in
general,
general.
yeah.
And he's like, why would some personal trainers be busy and some aren't, whether their knowledge is there or not? And I think it really related um, to our professions as well. Why is one busy and one not? I have tons of knowledge and I can help a lot of people, but with each visit, I need to provide something. I can't just do the same thing over and over again without a smile on my face. So I need enthusiasm. That bar needs to be high.
People could tell if you're having a bad day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no
and
doubt.
and my goal is to not let them know if I am or not. And there's a really good story about that, but is to not let them know whether I am. So I need tons of enthusiasm. I need lots of knowledge. As my mentor Cody DMAC said, I need to be able to pick the fly poop off a pepper. I got to be able to see with these little movement nuances. Like, give me the most perfect squat in the world, and I could pick something out. Just to give you something to improve upon, and then based off of that, we can give corrective exercise, or just kind of traditional lifting. So I need to have that knowledge base, and then I need to be motivating. So when you leave, you need to feel better. Whether that's physically better, feel better about yourself, whatever that is. I need to fill one of those buckets every time. And
Or a little bit of each of those buckets every time.
I got to do something.
Yeah.
Where if you come in and it's okay, well, it's crack, 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 have a good day. Crack, 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 have a good day. Then it gets old, and there's going to come a time where they're not going to see the benefit. It's like, well, I can just roll on a foam roller and I get my mid back to crack, and my foam roller is just as nice as you are. So there needs to be that they need to leave with some value, and I think that's him helping me frame it that way. Is yeah, when you come see me, I'm going to do everything I can to make you feel better if you're in pain. But if you're not in pain, you're still going to leave feeling better than when you got there. You might feel like you worked hard. You might feel like, man, I thought I knew how to deadlift, but man, I'm kind of rethinking that. There's some stuff I need to work on. But there was a guy I worked with that he maxed his deadlift the weekend before seeing me. He came, saw me on a Tuesday, made a couple tweaks, and then he went back out that weekend against my advice, and maxed again, and it was 15 pounds heavier on deadlift and squat. He's like just implementing those
Technique.
these technique tweaks. And so like that's very valuable for him, really valuable for just a 30-minute session. Uh, Something that, and I'm super enthusiastic about squat technique because I freaking love it. And so providing that value um, in those appointments with those patients, whether they're in pain or not, makes them see he can provide me with something, whether that's I always feel better about myself, about my life situation in my body, whatever that is. Feel better. I move better. I whatever it is, you can provide that value, and that's helpful for them to see that, so that they do want to reach out to optimize their movement as opposed to just get out of pain.
Beautiful. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
What's next? What's next for Roger's health and performance?
Yeah. What's next is I'm very happy where I am right now. I mean, like location wise, very happy. I work primarily out of Iron Legion in Westbrook, One day a week, sometimes a couple days a week, I'll work out of Misfit Wyndham up in Wyndham. Um, just two awesome locations. The
Sherb's a great guy.
absolutely. I mean, the communities I'm in, it doesn't get any better. It doesn't get any better. You know it. CrossFitters are amazing. That's uh, here recently. There may not been a lot of things that CrossFit got right, but the community aspect that has just been amazing through and through. Um, so next is just keep trucking. I mean, grow as much as we can. Um, it's, yeah, being 2.5 months in, I cannot be upset about where I am. It's been fantastic, but continue to grow and get my name out there because I really like helping people.
Nice.
I like helping active people that want to be there, want to get better, want to continue doing their activities. Um, I feel like the way that I treat empowers people to uh, to continue their activities. We may need to modify and and change things up for a short time, but it really empowers you to okay, I can keep moving, even though I have some knee pain, even though I have some hip pain, I can keep moving instead of this kind of reductionist view where it's okay, you got to be off of it. We need to unload this thing, maybe for some things, but uh, I want my name in Rogers Health and Performance to get out there more because I want to help people. And that's what all of us providers feel. I feel like
Most definitely. Love it. So we're on the precipice of open workout 25.3 announcement here in just about 1 hour. What do you want to see?
I want to see a heavy barbell. Let's see. Do you remember the snatch ladder from 2013 or is it just 2000? Might even be just 2012. 2013 was burpees and snatches.
That's before my time.
Oh, okay. I was. I really hope you can't find this video out there, but there's a video of me doing it in 2012.
Okay.
From in the open in 2012. So ugly.
So you wouldn't have a chance at it.
I of course, but it of course isn't going to be a repeat, but something where we get a heavy Olympic lift. I want some skill, skill that's heavy, because
so maybe like a repeat of 2023, 23.3. No, but there was double unders in that, so we probably won't see that.
No, so a lot of good ones like
like
the one from 15 that was toes to bar double unders and then that ascending clean. Like that's beautiful, but of course we're not going to see
cleans again. They keep us guessing.
I know. I mean, it's not going to be, but I want it to be something that ends with quite a heavy snatch.
Right.
Because of all the Olympic lifts, that's my favorite. And I'm tired of these little
sexiest lift there is.
I'm tired of these little motor workouts.
Here, I'll run a workout past you, and I want you to tell me about it. 4-time 800-meter run, 50 hang power cleans at 115, 75. 600-meter run, 30 hang power cleans at 155, 105, and 400-meter run, 10 hang power cleans at 185, 125. What do you think about that workout?
So I think that was Darren's joke because it was programmed because I love power cleans and I hate running.
So this is an actual workout and it's called Ben Rogers. It is a Mayhem tribute workout.
Yeah.
That is apparently turned into like a benchmark.
Yeah. Works for me.
Yeah. I found that in my digging.
I'm not dead.
So for those of you who are interested in pain and suffering, go ahead and try that one out. I have a feeling that the 30 at 155 gets pretty dang spicy.
I'd rather that than 50
at 115.
115-pound barbell in CrossFit scares me more than anything else.
Yeah. It's just light enough that you can cycle, but
You,
then
you don't have to put it down.
It creeps up on you.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because you can do all 50.
Yeah.
It's gonna suck. You really have no reason to put it down.
I can't do all 50. Don't look at me.
There's a lot of used to could over
Yeah.
here. There's but right now it might look different. I would do it, but the next day would be
It would feel different.
pretty dysfunctional.
Yeah.
Yes, I found that out pretty quickly with the open. This is my first open since 2018, because that was when we went to regionals with Big D when we were in Dallas. That was the last open that I did, and then I transferred to just Olympic lifting after that. So I haven't the benchmark the repeat that we did last week. I've never done that.
You hadn't repeated it.
And I really wish I had, because I treated it as though I were still fit, even though I'm not.
It's a deceptive one. Those first 21 pull-ups and 42 double unders.
Walk in the park. 21 thrusters, whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
Until you do them, and then you're sucking air and
I think I finished the 18 thrusters in 3.5 minutes.
yeah.
Tanked.
As soon as you got to those bar muscle ups.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Actually, I felt fine. Hopped on the bar. And then I was going to do 654. And then did my at 5. It hit while I was on top of the bar. Breathing, heart rate just got out of control.
Whoops.
And when I came down, it never got back under control.
Yeah, right. Cool. So any parting words for our listeners?
I don't know. I think we covered a lot as far as what I do, what fitness is to me, but whatever your fitness is, fitness can be quite broad, or you can feel very narrow with it if you are just a runner or something like that. But whatever that is, whether it's life stressors or not, it's not the load that breaks you down. It's the load you're not prepared for. So if you're more prepared, whether that's in the gym, in life, whatever that preparedness looks like, you need to be prepared so that you don't get broken down by whatever load, whether that's life stresses, gym stresses, sport stresses. Your body's going to be happier for it.
Love that. So where can people go to find out more about you, more about your practice?
Absolutely. You can find us on social media, mostly Instagram at Rogers Health and Performance, or online at rogershealthandperformance.com.
Perfect. Ben, thank you so much for coming on.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Perfect.